Welcome to the Building Up Women in Property podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Bangura, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Whether you're a woman aiming to become a confident, impactful leader, or you're a leader committed to promoting gender equity in the property and construction industry, this podcast is designed specifically for you. Join me every week to gain insights and inspiration that will leave you excited and confident about taking your next steps. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's dive into today's topic. Today, we are talking about from good to great, the secret to being exceptional. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am by no means exceptional in every area of my life, but I am certainly on the journey of trying to set that standard for myself, to really try and push myself to be the best version of me, to achieve big things in my work and in the world, and to impact and support as many women on their professional journey as possible. And in the process of my own shift away from project management and property development into becoming a leadership coach and having my own business, I have had to grow an immense amount. I've had to reshape my own vision of myself and what I want to achieve and what success looks like. And that has been immensely rewarding, but it has also been very difficult. And I'm now at a point in my journey as a leadership coach where I'm asking myself, how do I move from good to great? What does that look like? And what does it take to be exceptional and have the impact in the world that I want to have? And so this is an idea I have been playing with for a while, and I want to share my insights with you today on this, because not only do they reflect my own journey in shifting careers and building a business and impacting the lives of women, but it also reflects the experience of many women in the property and construction industry as well. And the distinction I see with my clients and with women in the industry around what sets someone apart from being a good operator to being an exceptional performer. And this is really important because as we look to see more women in the industry and see more women in leadership roles and positions of power and authority, and rightly or wrongly, women are often held to a much higher standard than our male counterparts. That is the reality of the environment that we work in. And as we see the industry shift and more diversity at all levels of our businesses, hopefully that expectation will be reset and will normalise, irrespective of gender. But for the time being, we are where we are. And my job as a leadership coach supporting women in property and construction is to see you succeed. Because when you are in those positions of leadership, when you are leading a team, that is when you have the most impact and are really able to drive and leverage change within the industry. And that benefits us all. So I want to talk you through the secret to being exceptional. And this is what moves the dial from being good to being great. And there's this saying, be so good that they can't ignore you. And I love this because it puts us back in control. It allows us to decide how we want to show up and what we want to do and to what standard. And when we set the bar high for ourselves, when we decide that we want to be exceptional, that we want to be a top performer, that we want to be, in the 1%, it is very hard for people to ignore us. And of course, with that, we need to be claiming our achievements and really owning our accomplishments. We need that level of visibility because if we are being exceptional in the background, people will use us as a stepping stone to get to where they want to go. So we need to not only be great at what we do, we also need to make sure that we are owning that success and creating the visibility that is necessary in order to be recognised. And the final thing I want to say before we get into the how is that we need to stop waiting for permission. We need to stop waiting to be asked to show up as leaders. The great among us are the people who step into those roles, who take on those positions because they can. They drive impact and influence without a title, without a job description, because they are driven and motivated by that impact. And you are here, you are listening to this, so I imagine you are one of those people. So let's get into it. How do we break through the barriers of just being good and step into great and really being exceptional? So the first part is self-awareness, recognizing where we are right in this moment. So this is thinking about what you do well, but also what you don't do well. And this is understanding it from our own perspective, but also from the perspective of those around us. So this requires us to get feedback and insight and really understand our strengths, but also our shortcomings and our opportunities for improvement. But often this level of critical insight and self-reflection and information can feel crippling. And so most people go through life with the blinkers on. They would rather not know the reality and just fumble through blindly and hope for the best. And the truth is you can fumble through like this. You can have a good career doing this, being a good operator and having opportunities present themselves and having incremental shifts in your pay and your responsibilities. And there is nothing wrong with that. But we need to recognize that that is being good. It is not being great. It is not being exceptional. It is not the 1%. Being the 1% means taking the information, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and doing something with it to fuel yourself forward and showing up day after day committed to your own development, to your own success, and your own excellence. Now, doing that is hard. And that is what distinguishes people, right? From not only having the diagnosis, but also taking the action and taking that action consistently. Because if we are improving every day, if we are showing up and doing the work and improving by 1%, over the course of a year, you will end up 37 times better than you were at the start. And that is the impact of compounding. We are halfway through the year, and it's the perfect time for a progress check. Are you on track with your goals, or do you feel like you're slipping behind? The good news is there is still time to achieve your goals if you start now. To help you get there, I've created a mid-year check-in guide. This guide will help you clarify your progress, identify what's holding you back, and get you unstuck and laser-focused. With it, you can move forward to create the results you want, so you can have that more fulfilling and rewarding career and life. Head on over to RebeccaBangura.com or find the link in the show notes to get your copy and start moving forward today. So we need to use that self-reflection and those insights from others to really nail down what is the one thing that matters. What is the one thing that will move the needle for you in your career? What is the one thing that will have the most impact? And then we need to hone down on that one thing and then become exceptional at that. And of course, that thing is different for each of us, but it requires us to know what is the most valuable thing to that position and to our organization. And then we need to start trying things. We need to overcome the overwhelm and the distraction and focus on that important work. Now, often this is the stuff we overlook, right? Because it's not necessarily urgent, but it is crucial to your success. And then we need to do the repetition. So this is showing up every day and doing the work, day in, day out. And this is where we need to kind of cut the crap with ourselves and really take complete and utter ownership of our actions and show up consistently, irrespective of how we feel, irrespective of our motivation levels or our circumstances. This is the hard bit. This is making the commitment to ourselves to focus our energy on something and then making the time to do that. An example of this is something from Alex Hormozi that I've been trying lately, and it's the 100 rule. So it's spending 100 minutes every day doing something or putting in 100 actions that align with the thing that will move the needle for you. So for example, if you are looking to build your network and create opportunities, that might be reaching out to 100 people every day and talking to them. I know that sounds crazy, right? Like that's a huge amount of people or a huge amount of time to dedicate to one thing. But this is what it takes, right? We get better at things not by doing them once or twice or 10 times or 100. We get better at them by doing them 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 times. And once we accept that that is the requirement to be exceptional, to being great, and we sign on to it, then we just have to show up and do it day in, day out. We have to develop that as a behavior for ourselves where we take the actions, where we put in the time in order to become great. Now, this isn't a quick fix, right? It's anything but that, and again, going back to Hormozi's, rule of 100, it's do the thing for 100 minutes or 100 times for 100 days And, he talks about you will be a different person at the end of that. And I absolutely believe that that is true. And this is where I see in myself when I make the commitment to showing up. For me, it's been getting up at 5:15 every day and exercising first thing in the morning. So I'm back home by 7 and, can start my day. And I've been doing that for a couple of months consistently now. And once you get past the point of arguing with yourself about whether you will or won't do it, and you just accept that this is what it is, it becomes easier and it becomes joyful in the process of seeing the progress and becoming the person who does that. And again, there's this idea of, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And when we set that standard for ourselves, when we show up and take the action consistently, we will also see the knock-on effects of that in everything we do. So we are raising the bar. And I see this time and time again with my clients and with people who are not where they want to be in their careers and in their lives, because we usually attribute our success or our disappointment or our opportunities to our surroundings and to our circumstances. When the truth is that we are the ones in control. And this is why we'll often see people get a promotion or take a new job, hoping that this new environment or this new role will fix all the challenges that they had in their last role. But of course it doesn't, because those challenges come with you, right? Our behaviors, how we show up, how we deal with things, that is entrenched in our minds. It is our inbuilt operating system. And if you're feeling overwhelmed at work or you have no work-life balance, then that behavior will show up in the next role. And really, the only way we can combat that, the only way we can overcome it in a long-term, meaningful way is to change ourselves, to address the habits and the behaviors that get us to this point, and to create a new set of behaviors that serve us, that set us up to be exceptional, that set us up to achieve what we want and to serve us and support us to have that impactful career where we show up confidently and where we have time outside of work to be a well-rounded human instead of sacrificing our well-being and our relationships and our family to our jobs. And doing this requires discipline. It requires us to challenge ourselves around what we believe and who we want to be and what we need to do to get there. And then it's about reflecting on this day in, day out, and actively working on changing the narratives, on changing those habits and behaviors to ones that serve us to achieve the outcomes that we want. And so I want to tell you, no matter where you are, what your circumstance is, you have the opportunity to change things and to strive for excellence. And doing that comes from building consistent habits and behaviors and routines that contribute to your professional and your personal growth and success. And then committing to it and showing up, putting in the effort regardless of how you feel or what others are doing around you or your circumstances, and building on that incremental improvement till you stand miles apart from everyone around you. And when we allow ourselves to step into the limelight and be visible, then opportunities we can't even imagine open up. And so I want you to think about this. What is the one thing that you need to focus on? Is it a habit or behavior that you need to change? Or is it a skill that you need to develop? Get clear on what will move the needle for you in your career and then commit to it and go all in on that. Now, I'd love to hear what your thing is. So drop me a note on LinkedIn, come over, say hi. I will be there cheering you on. And I know with that focus and commitment, you will be exceptional. Thanks for joining me on the Building Up Women in Property podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, I'd love for you to take a moment and review the show if you found it helpful, or share it with a few friends. Thanks again. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.